Titans football lives here.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Mike Winmacher out here at Glenwood High School with Glenwood Titans head football coach David Hay. And Coach, big win, round one, 63-28 over Bloomington. Coaches always say you want to be playing your best football this time of year. Was that one of the best efforts you've seen from your team thus far this season?
Yeah, I think it was the best game we played. And really, across the board, I think it was the best game, a team game we played across the board. Football from offense to defense to special teams in a whole game. Clock got running there, and they gave up some scores. We gave up some scores, but I think as a team game, that was the best game we played all year.
Speaking of team, the offensive line, you had a lot of big plays, but those don't get made without the offensive line. Talk about that unit, in spite of injuries on that unit, just how they're gelling right now.
It has been a work in progress. I'd have to go back and look. I would easily say we've started 7 different combinations in 11 or 10 games, just between injuries, sickness, different things like that. It's really been a work in progress. Coach Pruitt has worked his tail off to try to mix and match the right things there. Some younger guys, some older guys that didn't have a lot of experience. So it has definitely been a work in progress, and Colton definitely had a lot of time back there to throw the football, and obviously did a great job behind him.
Not only Colton throwing the football, some big gains of Blake Lennon, but Grady Mueller with a big run. When you start getting those explosive plays, how much more pressure does that put on a defense then when you have those kind of where you can just score one play and you're in the end zone?
Yeah, well, they got to count about where they're at in the field, and so you got another guy coming in, and if your sub comes in, they haven't done as much. You're gonna try to go cover. You're gonna try to address other areas. So if new guys can come in and do the job as well, that definitely puts a pressure on a D coordinator.
You talk about the running clock. How nice was it? It's such a rarity to be able to get scout team guys who put in the work during the week to get some playoff time.
Yeah, no, that was great, especially on the offensive side. And we mentioned that offensive line. There's a bunch of seniors there that got an opportunity to play, and we wanted to make sure we focused on that for them. We want to win this week and get back to that place. If it's a chance that they don't get to play there again, we want to make sure we got them on the field. And it was great to see them get as much time as they did.
We've talked a lot about the offense, but the defense had a great game as well. How much did it mean to that unit to be able to have Luke Leahy and Dalton Scott back on the field for that game?
Yeah, the middle of our defense, that's where we took some injuries and lost some people. And I've said it, it's kind of like the middle of your baseball lineup. You use your second baseman, shortstop, and center fielder. I think a lot of baseball coaches say that's a problem. Yeah. And so it was a problem for us over that Rochester game. We lost all of them. And so getting those guys back healthy and starting a couple weeks healthy was big.
Got a long, lengthy road trip coming up, going up to Oaklawn Richards this week. How do you keep the guys focused on a trip of that length?
As much routine as we can. We practice everything that we're doing. We'll have our game day workout here, and we'll head up and give them something to eat on the road and get a stop, and work with Coach Cox, our strength coach, and about what they need to do when they get off the bus at different times, and get them ready to go into being, normal or regular when they start the pregame up there at Richwoods.
Talk about your opponents at Richards. You're kind enough to share some tape with me. I may be off base here, but looking at them, if I'm going to compare them to anyone in the CS8, it seems, at least as far as offensive philosophy, similar to Decatur MacArthur, where they have a workhorse back who's really good. They take big shots down the field, and they have a quarterback that's athletic. Yeah,
I'd say that's a pretty good analogy. I think that they're in that kind of category, I'd say. They got some very explosive players. They're physical team on both sides of the football, and they've been in the playoffs a whole bunch. They got a lot of experience. We seem to have seen them on the bracket any number of times, and different guys predicting that we're going to play them. It's just never happened, and you figured it was going to happen at some point. And it's a good football program, and so we're going to have to be ready.
Defensively, it looked like they run like a 3-3-5. Any other differences that they have that you have not maybe seen before in the CS8?
Well, they're a 3-3-3-4 team, and especially a 3-3. We run a 3-3, so our kids have seen a lot of that. And we see a lot of 3-4 in the CS8 as well. Seems to be the defense of the month around these days. So we see a lot of it. They're real athletic on defense and run around and tackle.
Coach, safe travels. Appreciate you always being so willing to take the time to talk to us each and every week. Best of luck against Richards, and look forward to talking again next week with you.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Your home for Glenwood Titans football is 92.7 WMAY.
Presented by Illinois Paving. Driveway problems? Not a problem. Call Cousin Bill. ILPaving.com.